You ever notice how peace and war can live right next door, hiding behind property lines and white picket fences? Yeah, that's the story I'm about to tell you. See, I inherited this patch of ground from my grandfather 2 years back, just over 2 acres tucked up against the pines outside Fairview, Utah. On paper, it's just land, dirt, scrub, a little patch of sky. But out here, just past the invisible line where the Golden Trails HOA stops, it feels like freedom with a pulse. No pastel garage doors, no committees telling you what color to paint your mailbox, just me, my boots, and whatever dreams I could drag out of the red dirt. After nearly 20 years building other people's homes across Salt Lake, I came back to do it for myself. This was going to be my legacy. 2 stories, timber beams from Canada, a wine cellar cut deep, and a wraparound deck that could swallow the sunset. I planned every inch myself. The foundation was in framing schedule locked, and every batch of materials I ordered felt like another brick in a life I was finally building for myself. I was living in a trailer on site, not fancy, but hell, it was home. Rigged up motion lights, reinforced the tool container, even set up a lock system a prison warden would envy. My little fortress. Then the HOA came knocking, literally. It was early, maybe 7, and I was checking a lumber delivery when I saw them coming up the dirt, 3 of them all in these matching navy jackets with gold badges that screamed bylaws or bust. Out front was a woman, maybe 50, not a hair out of place manicure that looked allergic to actual dirt. She had this slim folder tucked under her arm like a weapon. "Can I help you?" I asked, polite enough but braced for the nonsense. She didn't answer right away, just scanned my lot like a border agent sniffing for drugs. "Richard Westford," she finally said. "Rich," I corrected. But she was already in president mode. Karen Sheldon, head of the Golden Trails HOA. She claimed they were there for an architectural compatibility assessment. I almost laughed, but her face was set like concrete. I told her straight up, "This parcel's not inside your HOA." "True," she said, flipping her folder, "but your house is visible from our community and therefore subject to our compatibility clause. I swear these folks can find a loophole in their own shadows." She started waving at my materials, talking about how exposed steel and timber didn't fit the design language. I pulled out my laminated deed, the one recorded before her HOA even existed, and handed it over. She barely glanced at it, handed it back like I was showing her a grocery list. "We'll be issuing a formal notice. We recommend you halt work." That's when I said it plain and simple. "No." One of her cronies coughed like he expected me to roll over. Karen didn't blink. She talked about visual pollution, about how their residents deserve to be shielded from the sight of my build. I let the silence hang in the air. Sometimes that's all you need. They turned and left, papers flapping like they were off to a sermon. I thought that'd be the end of it. Wrong. Next morning, I was short 4 insulation panels. At first, I figured maybe my crew moved them, but after a walkthrough, I knew better. 2 days later, a crate of windows was half empty, then a whole pallet of specialty concrete gone overnight. That's when it hit me. This wasn't bad luck. Somebody was stealing from me. You ever get that sick feeling when you realize you're not dealing with amateurs? Whoever it was, they knew what they wanted and how to get it. I went over the lot searching for tire tracks, footprints, nothing but wind-blown dust and an unclipped chain at the gate. I called the cops because that's what you do, but the officer just shrugged, took notes, and said he'd look into it. Sure he would. That night I caught one of my own crew lurking near the container. "Louise, what are you doing?" He jumped like a cat on a hot grill. Mumbled something about lost gloves. I didn't accuse him, wasn't ready to believe I'd hired a thief, but after he left I found fresh scuffs by the door. I didn't sleep much. The land felt different, like it was holding its breath. Next morning, more gone. Copper pipes, 2 engineered beams heavy enough to need equipment. Now I was pissed. I spent the whole day wiring up security cameras everywhere, inside vent panels, under eaves, all feeding to a cloud account even the NSA would struggle to crack. I wanted proof. That afternoon, my neighbor, Dwayne, showed up. Old-timer pickup truck, decent guy. He handed back a coil of wire he'd borrowed and said, "Saw a black trailer with a gold HOA sticker out here late 2 nights ago. Figured you were doing night work." My stomach dropped. HOA, snooping at midnight. So much for boundaries. I doubled up the security, set up alerts, and waited. On the 3rd night, my phone pinged at 3 a.m. Motion near the container. I rolled out of bed, heart pounding, and watched the live feed. Two figures in HOA jackets, flashlights taped red, moving fast. One popped the lock, the other started hauling insulation. Then an SUV rolled up, headlights off, and out stepped Karen herself. She barked orders, arms slicing the air as if she owned the place. And here's the kicker. One of the thieves looked straight at the camera. His badge caught the light. Michael Bronson. Didn't mean anything to me then, but boy would it matter. By sunrise, I'd archived every frame, every timestamp, and started digging. Turns out Michael Bronson had a record contractor fraud, grand larceny. Shouldn't even be near HOA enforcement. I sent the footage to my lawyer, Elise. She took one look and said, "You're sitting on a civil and criminal jackpot." We filed a police report, started prepping the case for the DA. But I didn't go public, not yet. I wanted to see what else they'd try. 2 days later, Elise sends me a link. Evergreen Ridge Development, some shell company, had filed a permit to build a luxury guest home using, get this, repurposed premium materials. The specs matched my stolen stuff. The LLC led back to Karen's husband, James Sheldon. You can't make this up. I drove out to the build site, zoom lens in hand, and there it was. My beams, my windows, even a concrete panel with my shipping label sitting in their driveway. I took photos, dozens, then went home feeling not angry, just cold, like when cement starts to set. We filed again, evidence, video, everything. Still, Karen wasn't done. Next morning, she taped a letter to my gate accusing me of deliberate entrapment and unauthorized surveillance. Meanwhile, the HOA's internal blog blasted my name as a dangerous, unlicensed contractor. Imagine after 20 years. Clients started backing out, suppliers got spooked. My business took a hit, over $20,000 gone in a week. That was it. I filed a civil suit for defamation and damages, named Karen personally. No more hiding behind the HOA board. The next day, I get a cease and desist demanding I delete the footage and apologize. My reply, see you in court. The tide turned when a neighbor brought me a phone recording of Karen ranting at a meeting, calling my build illegal me dangerous. That went straight into the file. Elise got the restraining order, no more fake citations, no more notices taped to my gate. First real win in months. But something still didn't add up. Why all this for one lot? That's when Nate, an old college buddy, now in real estate, dug into the county records. Turns out my property was the last piece not under HOA control, right between two development sectors. If they got it, they could rezone and cash in big commercial strip business park, millions on the line. So they didn't just want me out, they needed me out. All the theft, the pressure, the smear campaign, it was about breaking the bottleneck. Instead of buying me out, they tried to crush me. Then the universe threw me a bone. Local reporter Shonda Marcus reached out after seeing viral clips of Karen's compatibility crusade. I showed her the footage, the fake LLCs, the building site, everything. Her story blew up. The next day, the old HOA treasurer, Ben, calls me, says he has emails, proof Karen and the board were plotting this for over a year, even budgeting for legal resistance. After that, things moved fast. Prosecutors wanted everything. Karen and Bronson, both under investigation. Turns out Bronson had been running a theft ring with Karen's blessing, using fake contractor compliance programs. The county raided the HOA office. Homeowners turned on the board, found their dues had been drained for side projects. When someone leaked an email where Karen called them short-sighted sheep with granite countertops, the board collapsed overnight. Karen was arrested trying to flee, suitcase in the trunk. Charges: grand theft, wire fraud, conspiracy, hiring a felon, and about a dozen more. Bronson flipped, confessed it all. The plan was to push me into foreclosure, buy the land for pennies. When it finally went to court, the judge froze HOA assets, dissolved the board, and handed operations to a trustee. Karen pled out 8 years in prison, full restitution, and her getaway cabin seized, auctioned proceeds straight to me. Bronson got 5 years. The rest of the funds went back to the homeowners. A class action suit followed. Golden Trails was finished. And me, I finished my house alone finally. No more clipboard parades, no more midnight thieves. Just the sound of hammers, drills, and boots on gravel. Peace, the kind you only notice once it's been threatened. Built out the deck, furnished the shop, even framed the newspaper headline, HOA President Jailed After Viral Footage Sparks Statewide Probe. Funny thing, after the dust settled, folks started reaching out, neighbors, strangers, all with their own HOA horror stories. So I built a website, Anti-HOA Build Group, laid out resources, checklists, the lessons I'd learned about fighting back, a quiet revenge, helping others stand their ground. One day I found a sign planted at my drive, private land. Here we build. We don't confiscate. No note, just a bottle of whiskey tucked behind it. I left them both where they sat. A week later, a handwritten letter showed up, no return address, just block letters. Dear Mr. Westford, you don't know me, but I know Karen. I was married to her for 19 years. Thank you for doing what the rest of us couldn't. You didn't just stop her from stealing a house. You gave a lot of us our peace back. J. Sheldon. I folded the letter, slipped it in my desk, and stepped out onto that wraparound deck, finally breathing free. So let me ask you, where do you draw the line between order and overreach, between community standards and personal freedom? Drop your wildest HOA story below, or just tell me where you stand. And hey, if you ever find yourself outnumbered, just remember sometimes it only takes one stubborn landowner to break the machine. If you believe in justice, or you've lived through your own HOA nightmare hit, share your thoughts and let's build something better together.